Hello, and welcome to Kiss List Confessions, where authors of kissing books talk about kissing. I'm Melanie Johnson, and this is a special edition of Kissing Confessions. It's Tinsel and Tatas. And with me today, I have one of my Tinsel and Tatas fellow authors, Kilby Blades. Hi, Kilby.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. And Kilby is actually one of the organizers of the Tinsel and Tatas anthology. So we kind of have a group, there's 18 authors, but there's a core group of authors kind of doing the heavy lifting. And Kilby is definitely one of them. So thank you.
Yes, I'm excited about it. It's worth it. It's a great group of authors and it's for a great cause. So it is truly a pleasure to help organize.
Right, and the cause she's talking about this year, the Tinsel and Tatas Holiday Charity Anthology, all the proceeds are going to the Young Survival Coalition for people diagnosed with breast cancer before the age of 40. So the anthology will be on sale for the month of October, so make sure you grab yours. We're going to talk more about Kilby's book, her contribution to the anthology later. But before we get to that, we are going to talk about kissing. So we're going to start with at the start with your very first kiss. Tell us about it in 3 words.
Brief, inspired, and welcome.
Oh, so this is a completely new group of adjectives I have not heard before in describing a first kiss. Brief, inspired, welcome. All right,
Yes.
split us up. So where were you? How old were you? All of those little details.
I was 6 years old and I was a camper at Serendipity Day Camp, which was hosted at Haverford College. And it's sort of an obscure location. Most people probably haven't been to Haverford College, but they had this sort of huge meeting place on the center of campus that was called the Cricket Shed, because cricket was a thing at Haverford College.
Like the sport cricket?
The sport cricket. So there was this building called the Cricket Shed, and it had a huge cricket field in front of it. But you could also go behind the cricket shed. And it was a center of activity at this day camp. And camp was like my favorite activity. My parents both worked, so I went to camp 5 days a week, all summer. So there was a kid named Warren who I can still picture clearly. And even, I think he was younger than me. He was either 5 or younger than me, 6.
Oh my goodness.
I still remember this kid was cute. I still remember what this kid looked like. Not that I was like that into boys at the time, but I knew enough to know that I liked Warren and that he was like a catch. And this is probably close to the end of the summer, but not like the last day of summer. And he was just trying to get it in. But he took me behind the cricket shed and he kissed me.
Warren.
I know.
Oh my goodness, a player at 5 years old.
Yes. And you know what? It was like I think both of us wanted that kiss. I can't completely explain why, but I was like, I totally want Warren to kiss me. So even from this probably foreshadowed my entire career. That one moment was like, oh yeah, she's going to turn out to be a romance writer.
I am loving this because my first kiss was the age of 6 as well. And I'm hearing someone else say this. And I'm like, I think I might have been the one that initiated it, though. It was like some boy who was staying with his grandma for the summer. So like he was living in my neighborhood, but like he wasn't like in my neighborhood usually. And so we hung out in the summer. And I just can remember, there was a lot of like little different dares that were kind of dangerous, and I think I'm trying to remember who dared the other one for the kiss, but yeah. So
that's so funny. I wonder whether 6-year-old is like a prime age for summer flings. Like I wonder how many people have had that like 6-year-old.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like that, like blossoming of awareness, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, well, and the weird thing about it is that I definitely didn't like boys. Like I definitely thought like boys were gross. And actually at the same time I had next door neighbors who were 2 brothers, and they were just absolute terror. So I definitely didn't have a high opinion of boys, but clearly had a 6-year-old thing for Warren.
Yeah. So it's behind the cricket shed. That's very Very sweet.
behind the cricket shed.
That's
Yeah.
like, it's like perfect fodder for a second chance romance or a childhood friends to lovers romance, you
Right.
know.
Like what if I were not partnered right now and I ran into Warrens somewhere in the world?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you are. But even though you are, it's okay to have some fantasies sometimes. So I would like to know three celebrities that you either would like to kiss, you know, in fantasy world, or if there are celebrities you have kissed and you don't mind kiss and telling, you can tell us about that too.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think that I have kissed at least two C to D list celebrities back in my own personal roaring 20s when I lived in New York and worked in the entertainment industry
Okay.
and came across a lot of celebrities. So I'm disappointed in myself because I've been racking my brain and I can't think of who those might have been. With that said, would those have been the people on my celebrity like freebie wish list? Probably not. Um, so this is what me and my partner call freebies. Like if you find yourself like stuck in an elevator, like who's your freebie?
I love this because we were just talking about the hall pass idea. I was talking with another Tinsel and Tata's anthology author about hall passes, and we want to start a whole anthology based on your hall pass. Like, what if it actually happened? So you call it the elevator? What do you?
We call them our celebrity freebies. We call them our
Celebrity
freebies.
freebies. Okay.
Yeah, where it was like, like if he came home and was like, "Oh, I kissed so and so," I'd be like, "You know what? I'm not mad at that. I get that." Right?
Not going to
That's
get in the way of that.
you can have that person. I'm not going to be mad at that. So I have to say the first one would definitely be Idris Elba. And I would want him to talk to me
I was
because
just going
that
to,
accent
yeah.
is legit. It's like, yeah, let's definitely kiss, but feel free to literally say anything for as
Tell
long as
me,
you
tell
want.
me about how you're going to kiss me before you kiss me.
Right.
Yeah, he what was that movie? Zootopia, where he played like the sergeant. Like his voice, even in that, is like you can make me fall in love with a cartoon buffalo or whatever he was.
Totally. Totally. Um, I would have to say I'm going to give you four because now that we're talking about that, I have more than three. So two, and these kind of fall in the same bucket, are both Jason Momoa and Lenny Kravitz. And let's just talk
Oh,
for a second about the thing that ties
connect.
them together. Is that Lisa Bonet was married to both of them or is married to Jason Momoa. And it's like Lisa Bonet is who I want to be when I grow up. So I just wanted
Mm,
to mention that.
yeah,
Or so maybe even a fourth would be like whoever Lisa Bonet's future additional husband is, because I can guarantee that he's going to be somebody that I want to kiss.
she knows how to pick them for sure. No question there. Oh my goodness.
Um, so there's this other actor who is rather obscure. His name is Jay Ryan, who I
Okay.
really like. And I have actually in my mind have based a couple of characters on him in books that I've written. So he was in the TV series Beauty and the Beast. And he was also in the drama series Mary Kills People. And he plays an American guy, but he's another one where he's like from New Zealand or someplace. And it's another one
Oh.
of those things. It's like, oh, your natural accent is beautiful. Please feel free to talk to me before, during, and after whatever kissing is happening. So that's four, not three.
But I like how you kind of made it three by combining the two, you know, like basically the number two there was Lisa Bonet's spouses. Like that's how that's
Yeah,
one.
that's a whole
That's
category.
one.
That's its own category.
I have to agree. I am right on board with both Jason Momoa and Lenny Kravitz and Idris Elba. No question. All right, so we're going from real people to fictional characters. And for this one, it's not so much characters that you might have actually seen kiss, but something about their personalities, the way that they're described, the way that they're depicted. You're like, oh, yeah, they would make a great kisser. So, three fictional characters you think would make excellent kissers.
Three fictional characters. I have to say, I have a weird thing about Like, so at first I'm a total movie person, and I'm really into on-screen kisses, but some of my favorite on-screen kisses are actually not great kisses. They just feel like great kisses because the emotion of the characters leads up to them. So like I'm thinking about, the Scarlett O'Hara Rhett Butler kiss on Gone with the Wind. Like a couple of those kisses are just like amazing, even though there are problems with Gone with the Wind and like all kinds of things wrong with Gone with the Wind, but like they get that chemistry right. So I would say I can't really remember many kisses that have happened in books, but I remember a lot of on-screen kissing moments, and a lot of them are the older movies. Like same thing with Casablanca. I remember a lot of the kisses in Casablanca, and they're not great kisses. They're sort of chaste because the movies are a little old. They're not like open mouth kisses, but for some reason the emotion behind them is really wonderful.
Okay. Okay. So are we kind of were combining two there, because my next question was going to be about actual kissing scenes in books, movies, TV. And can you think of any? I mean, we talked about Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, but are there any other actual scenes you can think of that you're like, oh yeah, that's the one that I really enjoy?
So this might be a tangent you're not expecting, but I am super into Asian dramas, and I watch a lot of Korean dramas, and kissing in Korean dramas is a thing
But it
because
like takes us forever to get there.
it takes you forever to get there, and they're super, in some cases they can be super awkward kisses. So I feel like over the past year that I've just been binging Asian dramas, I have this weird relationship with kisses, whereas before, like my bar was high. Like I used to want a good on-screen kiss, and I would be satisfied with a great kiss if the buildup wasn't there. Now I'm in this place where I'm willing to watch 15 episodes of buildup, and then whatever kiss I get, it's so satisfying. So then sometimes you get like an okay kiss and you're just happy that it's happened and you're satisfied. But when you have been through an entire drama and then you get the kiss and the kiss is great, then it's like,
Crash landing on you. Yes,
I
yes, yes.
know. Oh my gosh. So a lot of the memorable kiss scenes. So like Crash Landing on You has some great kisses, and they're so
Well,
heartfelt.
I mean, because they really did that build up. Like they built that puppy up for so long that you were just like, and they gave you the kind of teaser and pullback multiple times.
So
So when
many
it
times.
finally happened, and it's like in the rain and at the hospital, and I won't spoil it for any more who haven't people watched it, but you like you said, you got that build up, and it was super romantic. Yeah.
Yes. So like Crash Landing with You is definitely one where like I remember the kissing scenes and I've been like, rewind. Um, there's a great K-drama called What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, which actually goes farther than you would think. There's an actual sex scene, which
Whoa.
I can put on one hand the number of K-dramas I've
Yeah,
seen.
that's not
Sex
usually,
scenes.
yeah.
Not usually the case, but there's this moment where she's like, I want to stay here tonight. And she's outside the door and he's inside the door. And he's like, they even draw the lines out, like they break sentences up into like 3 sentences. And he's like, if you stay here, pause. I don't know, pause, if I'm going to be able to control myself, right? And like they even like draw that out, right? So then you see this, and then it's in slow-mo, because that's the other thing they do with K-dramas. Then she like slow-mo walks into their house. And like, to be clear, it is like a 17-second sex scene, but it was so satisfying. And there's all the kissing. In that one. And then I would say I watched another one called Vincenzo, where the kiss, when it happens, it's actually a fake kiss. It's they're posing as a couple.
They do that a lot, I think, in K-dramas as well, because it lets them kind of play without like officially, like this isn't an actual kiss, it doesn't count, but we're still getting to see it.
Yeah, you still get to see it. So there's a great fake dating kiss that happens in Vincenzo.
So you've named some that I have not even heard of before, so I'm gonna have to check them out. So yeah, I know you're kind of a bit of an expert at this point on the K-dramas. So
Yeah, they're totally, I love them. I completely escape into K-dramas.
yeah, yeah. I have to be careful, because like once you start one, it is so hard not to just completely like you don't want to do anything else. You just want to
No,
keep
they're
watching.
addictive. Yeah, like if you have deadlines, you cannot get into
Yeah,
it.
so that's why it's been, yes, since this next book I haven't gone back to watch another one. I burned through Crash Landing on You, and then Okay, so let's talk a little bit about locations, which I think Crash Landing on You did was another thing they did incredibly well, was these epic, beautiful, romantic locations that you saw. But for you, what do you think are 3 ideal places, ideal locations for kisses? It could be from personal experience, bucket list, or just someplace that you're like, yeah, that would work for me.
So maybe this goes back to my initial kiss experience, but I love kisses that are in public but in private. Like I love kisses where it's like we're in public, but I'm gonna pull you. I'm gonna pull you. Like we're walking along the beach, and I'm gonna like pull you under the dock, and we're gonna have a kiss.
That's a perfect way to describe it. In public but private. Like I really like that, like how you phrase that.
Yeah, and I love stuff like that. Like I love a good, Ferris wheel kiss or something like that, or like some place where I think the reason why I like it is because number one, I love like long dates. I love long dates, and I love long dates that like kind of meander through a lot of places. Um, and I love that idea of when you're with somebody, you want to kiss them, right? Like, why wait until you're home behind closed doors to kiss? If you really are enjoying the person you with, like, kiss them, right?
The
And maybe that's what
spontaneousness of it. Yeah, in the moment.
yeah. And I'm not a huge PDA person, but I definitely, when I used to go out to places in public with my
Once
partner,
upon a time.
back in those days, we would kiss each other a lot, and it was nice. And we would like stop to kiss each other someplace before like continuing whatever we were doing. So I any setting that involves that is something that I like.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. So if you're watching this, Kilby actually was on another author chat series I do called Mad About Meet Cutes, and that's over on Instagram. And Kilby, you were talking about the walking date, and I think that like really like where you kind of like the date occurs like over like they go through an entire city and kind of so like yeah, I think that's a perfect example of in that moment something happens romantically, and you're like oh, and the kiss happens. So.
And I lived in New York for a long time. I lived in cities period for a long time, and I think that may be part of it as well, because in cities you're never really alone. Like chances, especially living in New York. I mean, my apartment in New York was the size of my office, right? So when like behind closed doors is not nearly as interesting a destination as being out in the world. So I'm super into having kisses while out in the world.
Okay, so any specific other locations besides that?
I'm a big natural settings kisser. Like if I'm on top of a mountain, if I'm on top of a mountain with my partner, or we're out doing something, we do a lot of like ski lift kissing and stuff like that. You got to like take your goggles or
Which
like
is
bump each
also kind of
other.
in public but private.
Right. It's a little in public and private, but um yeah, any place where you would pause and be like, wow, this is beautiful. And like, it sounds cheesy, but it's like, oh, wow, like this vista that we're looking at on the beach is so beautiful. And it's like, you're beautiful too. Like all of those moments are
Yeah,
totally moments
well,
that happen in my
they're a
actual life.
trophy moment for a reason because I think we
Right.
can all kind of tap into that, and you're getting like that overflow of emotions because some like landscapes do inspire like this surge of emotions in you that's akin to kissing. So yeah.
You're right. It is a surge of emotion. And it's like, it's all of that part of riding that wave of awesome. It's like, this moment is awesome. And part of the awesomeness is you. And let's make this moment even more awesome.
And then the music plays.
It totally does,
Speaking
right?
of, oh, talk about segue. So, speaking of, what are 3 songs that you would put on your kissing music playlist?
I am a big kisser while dancing. Like when I
Mhm.
dance with my husband, we do a lot of kissing while dancing. So I thought of our wedding song, which is "Can't Help Falling in Love with You," by the Elvis. I don't know if Elvis actually wrote it, but it's the Elvis
The
version. So
Elvis version of that song. Okay. Yeah.
the Elvis
Mhm.
version of that song is a big one. Um, I really like "Fade Into You" by Mazzy Star. To me,
Oh,
that's
yes. So sexy. And
totally
yes, I love that song.
that's such a great kissing song. And then the other song that I thought of um, was "Thinking Out Loud."
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to place it. I'm not placing it.
I think that is Ed Sheeran.
Okay. Oh, so
Yes.
by the way, while Kilby's checking this out, and we will, there is a kissing music playlist on Spotify that if you're watching this, you can go check it out, access all of the songs that every author who's ever appeared on Kissless Confessions has mentioned. And so you can have all of these songs for your kissing music playlist. So I'll make sure to drop Kilby's picks into that playlist. So we can
Yeah,
find
it's one of those ones I always forget the name too because the name does not align to the lyrics at all. But that's a good one. And I would say the fourth one because apparently I can't pick three of anything. I always have four. Is
You're breaking my
Overjoyed.
rules. That's okay.
I know, right? Is Overjoyed by Stevie Wonder. To me, that's such a great like kissing song.
Yeah, he's got some good ones too. Yeah, Stevie Wonder.
Totally.
He has some good emotional, fun. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more now about books. So let's go start with Tinsel and Tatas and about your contribution to the anthology.
So I have never, when I write short stories, I love writing epilogues, extended epilogues, like several years later epilogues for characters that I've written into full-length books because I love my characters and I like thinking about what they might be doing a couple of years later. So for my Tinsel and Tatas story, it's called Last One Gets the Booby Prize, unintended. So it's about my celebrity chef. Her name is Chella Dawes, and Max Picarelli, who's the hero, and they were the hero and heroine in my novel called The Secret Ingredient, which is a small town romance. He's a doctor, but he also cooks because he inherited a restaurant from his late aunt. So this is basically them after they're together, and she's invited to be a celebrity chef at the Tinsel and Tatas Gala. But she's very busy. She runs a restaurant. She has an agent. Her agent booked it for her, and she did not read her contract carefully. So she has developed a menu, and she thinks she's going there to cook a lovely menu for a celebrity event in sort of like a wintry town in Mammoth Lakes in California, which is a ski resort. And she learns that two things. Number one, there is a Winter Olympics theme that she didn't know about, and she's also expected to compete in a celebrity curling competition, and she does not understand curling at all. So she and Max have to like figure out how to curl. And then the second thing is she gets there and the event organizers tell her that she doesn't have enough boob themed items on the menu. So she has to quickly and literally develop a set of foods that look like breasts.
That had to be fun to do for research. Like start like Googling like boobed themed foods.
No, so it turns out that's totally a thing. It turns out that people have parties.
Yeah, and I've seen like the mammograms, like the graham crackers and the marshmallow.
Right. And actually there are mammograms in the story and somebody shows them a picture or they're like Googling something and he's like, why does the boob look squished? And she's
Dude.
like, because that's what happens during a mammogram. So it's this tiny, it's short, it's not long at all, but it's just this little rom-com where, you know, she thought that she was just going to cook for this event and maybe they would have a little romantic time together at the ski resort. And all of a sudden, instead of, you know, like getting to spend quality time together, they're like, you know, her ass is sore from like falling on the ice like 7,000 times while she's learning how to curl. And like, you know, he's there with the broom, like, you know, trying to get the weight to keep going. And
that sport makes no sense to me. It really doesn't.
And to be perfectly transparent, I am neither a curling expert nor a curling fan. So I have watched many YouTube videos at this point, trying to understand what curling is all about so I could explain it to readers. So that was an education for me as well.
Yeah, well, and it kind of, because you're the window into it, so it makes sense. Like, so it helps that they don't know about it either. So that is kind of an epilogue to The Secret Ingredient. Can you tell us about anything else you've got coming out or what's coming up?
So I've got two big things on the horizon. So a book of mine that just came out is called Forest for the Trees, for folks who are fans of Penny Reid and the Green Valley universe. Green Valley is my favorite universe as a fan to read. And I had the opportunity to write a book set in the Green Valley universe. So it's about a fire marshal. His name is Forrest Winters, who has a crush on a national park ranger named Sierra Betts, who is very grumpy related to him because he broke a statue of hers, and he keeps going to the ranger station and stealing this food that she makes. So it's this really cute, grumpy sunshine rom-com, but there's a mystery to solve because there are suspicious fires in the park. And it's one of those things that was just a total pleasure to write, and something that is a dream for my career to be able to write something in that universe.
Super exciting. So that's Forest for the Trees, and that's going to be out by the time you're watching this. It will be out, so go and find it and get it. And it sounds super cute. I love Grumpy Sunshine, and I'm like, so mystery, yeah, like add that to it for me as well, and I'm in.
Yeah.
So what else is there too?
Yeah, the other big thing that's happening is that I'm putting a lot of my books into audio, and I'm a super audiophile. Like my brain prefers audiobooks, and the clarity of audiobooks works for my brain, just sort of like studio. That's the easiest way for me to consume books. So not only have I had my books produced into audio, I've gotten some of my very favorite audio actors to narrate my audiobook. So I have Aaron Mallon narrating Snapdragon. I've got Sebastian York narrating Chrysalis. I've got Nicole Small and Tim Page. I've got Nicole Lewis and Jacob Morgan narrating Vertical, which is the third one. And then I've got A Holiday Story. So I'm going to be doing some audiobook releasing, and I've been having the best time just like listening to them myself.
Those are all huge names. Like that's huge. That's a really amazing, because I'm big into audiobooks as well. I love listening to them. It's a great way for me to kind of turn off my writer brain and enjoy the book as a reader. Gives my eyes a break from the screens. So yes, and that's super cool that you have all of these like well-loved narrators that are going to be doing your books. So
yeah, and also to be clear, also life goals. Like if you were an author and you like audiobooks, like it is a life goal to have Sebastian York like narrate one of your characters. Like he's another one that it's like, just read me the phone book. I could listen to that from cover to cover.
So make sure you look for those as well. Look for Kilby's books to be in audio upcoming. And don't forget to pick up Tinsel and Tatas and Forest for the Trees. And this has been Kissless Confessions. Thank you so much for joining me today, Kilby. I've had a lot of fun, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.